If you've ever tried to learn something new, like a language, skill, a craft, or even a new way of being, you've probably felt the frustration. That moment where the mind feels slow, the progress feels invisible, and the skill feels just out of reach. In this video, you're going to learn an ancient Japanese secret that radically accelerates learning, one used by samurai, artisans, monks, master craftsmen, and modern high-level performers. By the end, you'll understand why most people learn slowly, what hidden force inside you is blocking your progress, and how to unlock a way of learning that feels natural, intuitive, and almost effortless. And stay with me until the end, because the final insight is what transforms this from a technique into a way of life. Let's begin. There is an old saying from the dojos of ancient Japan: when the student rushes, the skill hides. And for most of us, that's exactly what happens. We live in a culture of speed, quick wins, instant results, shortcuts, hacks. Everything has to happen now. But real learning, deep learning, the kind that rewires you from the inside out, operates by a very different rhythm. The samurai noticed this long before neuroscience had words for it. They saw that when a student approached a skill with tension, with ego, with the desire to jump ahead, the body locked up, the mind scattered, the essence of the skill slipped away. But when the student entered a different state, a quiet, receptive, humble state, something miraculous happened. Movements became smoother, patterns clicked faster, understanding deepened without effort. They called this secret Shu Ha Ri, not a technique, not a trick, but a pathway, a way of moving through any skill. So the skill imprints itself effortlessly into your body, mind, and awareness. And if you've ever wondered why some people learn with astonishing speed, while others struggle for years, this is the missing piece. Shu Ha Ri is composed of 3 ancient stages. But before the samurai taught a single one, they made the student face something deeper, a truth modern people rarely confront. Your mind does not learn slowly because you are incapable. It learns slowly because you've been taught to learn in ways the brain was never designed for. Think about how we're raised. We're encouraged to multitask, to rush, to compare ourselves, to chase novelty instead of depth. We're told to figure it out on our own, long before we've built the structure to understand what we're even trying to do. The samurai knew this leads to scattered focus, fragmented attention, and shallow learning, like digging a dozen small holes and never finding water. So their training began with something most modern learners resist, something that can feel almost uncomfortable at first: stillness. Not physical stillness, but the stillness of surrendering the need to know, the willingness to enter a skill as a beginner, to let yourself be shaped by it rather than trying to dominate it. Because the truth is, you can't pour new knowledge into a cup that's already overflowing. The monks of Kyoto used to say, when the ego steps aside, the learning steps in. And that is where Shu begins. Shu is the stage of absorption. You don't innovate, you don't rush, you don't argue with the process. You receive, you imitate, you let the patterns carve themselves into your nervous system. Modern neuroscience confirms what the samurai already knew. When you repeat a movement or a pattern with full presence, without distraction, without improvisation, the brain begins to automate the pathway. Synapses fire together, neural circuits strengthen, the conscious mind relaxes, and learning becomes fast. But here's the paradox: Shu isn't fast because you move quickly, it's fast because you remove resistance. You learn 10 times faster, not by trying harder, but by letting the skills settle into you, breath by breath, step by step. Imagine a stone dropped into still water. The ripples move outward cleanly, effortlessly. But drop the same stone into churning waves, and nothing spreads, nothing penetrates. Your learning is the same. Stillness accelerates, chaos scatters. So the first ancient secret is not about talent, it's not about intelligence, it's not even about discipline. It is about creating the inner conditions where learning can take root without friction. This is why the samurai would spend months mastering a single gesture, a single stance, a single breath, not because it was slow, but because they understood that once the foundation becomes effortless, everything built on top becomes effortless too. And here is where most people fail. They want the advanced techniques before they've embodied the basics. They want mastery before they've built the structure to hold it. The samurai had a saying for this: a house built on sand collapses at the first wind. Shu is how they built stone. Ha is how they shaped the stone. Ri is how they moved beyond it. Your speed is determined not by how fast you move, but by how cleanly you learn. If you can embody that truth, your entire relationship with learning will shift. What once felt difficult begins to feel natural. What once felt confusing begins to feel obvious, and the skill that once felt distant begins to live inside you. This is how the ancient Japanese learned anything from martial arts to calligraphy, from meditation to craftsmanship, 10 times faster than the world around them. Now we enter the heart of Ha, the stage where discipline becomes expression, and learning deepens into instinct. Shu is where learning enters your body, but Ha is where learning begins to breathe inside you. If Shu is absorption, Ha is expansion. It's the moment you stop being a mirror and start becoming a creator. But there is a paradox tucked inside this stage, one most people never see. To enter Ha, you must first honor Shu so completely that its patterns dissolve into instinct. Otherwise, Ha becomes rebellion, not evolution. This is why so many learners get stuck. They jump into variation too early. They skip the absorption phase. They want to add their signature before they've built the signature itself. The samurai saw this constantly. A student who learned one stance would immediately want to modify it. A student who learned one strike would instantly try to improvise. And every time, the masters said the same thing: your creativity is still too noisy. Let your silence deepen first. But when the silence finally settled, when the basics no longer required thought, that's when Ha opened like a secret door. Because Ha is not about breaking rules, it's about understanding the wisdom behind them, so deeply that new possibilities emerge without force. In Ha, you begin to see the invisible patterns that connect everything. You notice the principles beneath the techniques, the way a movement holds its weight, the way breath shapes timing, the way intention directs energy. At this point, you are no longer repeating. You are exploring, refining, adapting, discovering. The artisans of Kyoto used to say, the form teaches you the freedom, meaning the structure you once thought was limiting becomes the very thing that sets you free. When Ha begins, your learning accelerates, not because you are pushing harder, but because you are finally listening. This is where 10x learning truly ignites, because your mind is now working with the skill, not against it. In Shu, your teacher guides your hand. In Ha, your inner intelligence awakens. And yet, this stage requires something most people resist: a willingness to question without ego, a willingness to adjust without pride, a willingness to explore without clinging to what you already know. Because Ha is not chaos, it is precision refined by curiosity. Imagine a calligrapher who has practiced a single stroke for months. Only after the stroke has become effortless do they experiment with angle, pressure, flow. Their hand is no longer trying to impress. It is trying to understand. Ha feels like that. A widening, a soft expansion, a curiosity that rises naturally, as if the skill is teaching you how it wants to be expressed. But here is the truth most learners never realize. Ha is not optional, and it cannot be rushed, but it also cannot be avoided. It is the natural consequence of true practice. When you truly master the basics, variation appears on its own, the same way a river naturally branches and flows into new shapes. In ancient Japan, the sword masters used to bring students from different schools together, letting them exchange methods that contradicted each other, not to confuse them, but to teach them something deeper: that beneath every technique, beneath every style, there is a universal rhythm, the body moving with intention, the breath guiding timing, the awareness sensing opportunity, the spirit expressing itself without hesitation. When a student reached this understanding, they could learn any new technique 10 times faster, because the technique was no longer foreign. It was simply another expression of a principle they already understood. This is the moment every learner dreams of, the moment where skills connect, where intuition sharpens, where progress begins to accelerate on its own. But now we reach the most mysterious stage of all, the stage that transforms learning from effort into flow, from discipline into embodiment, from doing into being. It is the final stage, the one even advanced learners rarely reach, the stage the samurai believed was the doorway to mastery. Ri. The stage where the skill becomes you, and you become the skill. Next, we'll explore Ri, the level where the mind becomes silent, the body takes over, and learning accelerates in ways that feel almost supernatural. Ri is the stage where everything you've practiced, Everything you've repeated, everything you've absorbed and refined, finally disappears. Not because it's gone, but because it has gone so deep that you no longer need to think about it. It has moved from your mind into your being. Ri is the moment a musician stops playing notes, and the music starts playing through them. It is the moment a calligrapher stops drawing lines, and the brush begins to express something larger than the hand holding it. It is the moment a warrior stops calculating moves, and simply responds, instantly, without hesitation, without effort. This is why Ri has often been called the formless form, the place where technique dissolves and mastery emerges. Ri is not about perfection. It is about unity, you and the skill, the breath and the movement, the intention and the response, all woven into one seamless experience. When the samurai taught Ri, they didn't explain it, they couldn't. Ri is something you feel, something you become. The masters would simply say, when the mind stops choosing, the body starts knowing, and this is exactly what modern neuroscience describes. When a person enters deep mastery, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for conscious decision-making, quietly shuts down. The brain stops thinking and starts flowing. It stops analyzing and starts expressing. Ri is not about doing more, it is about doing less, less forcing, less overthinking, less controlling. This is why the ancient masters could adapt instantly, learn new techniques at incredible speed, grasp ideas that others struggled with for years. Because in Ri, you are no longer learning the skill is revealing itself to you. And here lies the greatest secret of all. You do not reach Ri by trying harder, you reach Ri by letting go. Letting go of tension, letting go of self-doubt, letting go of the need to control every step. Once you have paid your dues in Shu, and explored the depths of Ha, Ri arises naturally, like dawn following night. Ri is the moment you realize, the technique was never the point was who you were becoming, because the true purpose of Japanese learning traditions was never just skill acquisition, it was transformation. You don't just learn faster, you become someone capable of learning anything, with calm, with clarity, with presence. The artisans used to say, a master is not someone who knows more, a master is someone who becomes more. And when you embody Shu Ha Ri, you step into that becoming. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop rushing your progress. You stop forcing what isn't ready. Instead, you learn with patience, with curiosity, with reverence, the way the ancient Japanese once learned everything, from swordsmanship, to music, to language, to the art of simply living well. And if you approach your next skill, your next goal, your next chapter in life, through these 3 stages, something extraordinary will happen. You will learn faster than you ever have. You will remember more deeply. You will adapt more fluidly. You will progress more naturally. Because you won't just be practicing a skill, you will be practicing a way of being. A way centered, steady, intentional, and aligned with the rhythm of mastery itself. And here is the final insight, the one I asked you to stay for. Most people try to jump directly to Ri. They want intuition without repetition, creativity without structure, ease without discipline. But the Japanese understood the deeper truth. You cannot transcend what you have not yet embodied. You cannot break the form until the form has shaped you. You cannot move freely until the foundation is unshakable. You cannot become effortless until effort has trained your spirit. When you honor the stages honor you. Shu gives you roots. Ha gives you wings. Ri gives you freedom. And that is the ancient Japanese secret to learning anything 10 times faster, not by force, but by flow. If you found insight in this video, please subscribe for more teachings to guide you on your path. And let me leave you with a question. What skill is quietly calling you to master it? Not for achievement, but for the person you will become along the way. And as always, remember to stay in tune with your own mind frequency.